Welcome to this timeless book topic of The Psychology of Intelligence, 1947. This describes the pioneering psychologist Jean Piaget's theory of intelligence and cognitive development from birth to adolescence. Piaget's text, first delivered as a series of lectures in Paris, is central to his extremely influential research program and, as a result, one of the 20th century's most important pieces of work on children's psychology. Jean Piaget was a Swiss psychologist, renowned for his contributions to the study of child development. Born in 1896, he wrote more than 50 works on cognitive development before dying in 1980. His theories continue to influence debate and inform the work of psychologists, sociologists, and educators. A new perspective on intelligence. What do children get wrong, and how can we assess their cognitive abilities? When Swiss psychologist Piaget initially entered the field of child psychology in the 1920s, these were the study questions he pursued. Piaget eventually realized that this wasn't the greatest strategy. He noted that children of the same age made identical blunders. What they got incorrect provided little insight into intelligence. They did, however, make blunders. Piaget demonstrated that children not only make more mistakes than adults, but also reason in completely different ways. This finding guided his work for the next 6 decades, laying the groundwork for one of the most influential accounts of cognitive development ever developed. The main ideas of the book are summarized as follows. 1. Intelligence is action. In 1942, psychologist Joseph Piaget questioned the nature of intelligence by defining his research subject as intelligence is action. He rejected earlier theories that suggested intelligence is the acquisition and correction of information from the external world. However, his experimental research with children in the 1930s proved that children were actively constructing knowledge. Piaget believed that children's cognitive tests, such as poking, prodding, and pulling at objects, were the key to defining intelligence. He believed that children could only arrive at objective truths by actively reconstructing them for themselves, resulting in intelligence being a product of these exploratory actions. 2. Adaptation mediates interactions between organisms and their environments. Piaget's theory of adaptation explains how organisms and their environments interact. He argued that adaptation governs all interactions between organisms and their environments. For example, humans' digestive system reacts to foreign matter through accommodation, which releases acids and triggers abdominal muscles to contract. This can be both passive and transformative. Assimilation, on the other hand, involves an organism actively imposing its structure on the environment, transforming a part of the environment into energy. This process, like the adaptation of a snail to a snail, shapes our psychological or cognitive relationship with the world. These adaptations not only govern our physical interactions, but also shape our psychological or cognitive relationship with the world. 3. We organize knowledge to adapt cognitively to the world. Piaget's philosophical theory suggests that our bodies and minds are both physiological and cognitive entities, regulating our interaction with the environment. He posited that we organize knowledge to adapt cognitively to the world, using schemata as a system to cope with the constant flow of information. Schemata are organized units of knowledge about the world, or how to behave in it, stored in a cognitive filing cabinet. When we interact with our environment, we consult this cabinet to find anything that helps us make sense of what's in front of us. This complex schema assumes the existence of other schemata and awareness of cause and effect, which is only possible after a great deal of cognitive development. 4. Cognitive development is driven by intellectual integration and accommodation. A young child misidentifies a squirrel as a dog, which Piaget believed was an example of assimilation. Assimilation is a quantitative process where an organism imposes its structure on the environment, allowing us to respond appropriately in various situations. However, accommodation is a qualitative process where new stimuli don't fit our existing schemata. Assimilating squirrels into a dog schema won't work if the boy's mother tells him that dogs are pets and squirrels are wild animals. There are two ways of accommodating new stimuli: creating new schemata or modifying existing schemata. For example, the boy could reorganize the dog schema as a mammal schema, including both dogs and squirrels as subcategories. 5. Throughout cognitive development, we strive for balance. Piaget's theory of cognitive development explains that humans respond to their environment in two ways: outwardly directed acts and internalized thoughts. Both act to create a state of balance or equilibrium between the individual and their environment. The search for equilibrium propels individuals through discrete stages of cognitive development. Equilibrium is a state of harmonious balance where an individual can assimilate stimuli into existing schemata. Disequilibrium occurs when schemata cannot assimilate stimuli, leading to frustration and disorientation. The drive to restore equilibrium is called equilibration, and when assimilation fails, accommodations are made. This process continues until new schemata can make sense of the world. Each state of equilibrium is qualitatively different, and individuals develop a new psychological structure to solve complex problems. 6. During the first stage of development, newborns recognize the presence of autonomous things. Infants begin their journey of discovery during the first 24 months of life, with their physical structure providing them with sensoromotor functions to explore their world. They can perceive sights and smells, coordinate these perceptions with movements, and learn to distinguish between stimuli. However, they lack a concept of the object, meaning they only accept the reality of what they can perceive. According to Piaget, infants develop this concept around 8 months, which allows them to understand higher-order concepts like cause and effect and reason appropriately. This understanding allows them to navigate the world effectively. Infants become more assured hunters of hidden objects, a first leap toward the decentered reason that defines adult intelligence. 7. In the preoperational stage of development, children exhibit egocentric behavior. Piaget's theory of cognitive development focuses on the second stage of development, which occurs between ages 2 to 7. During this stage, children explore the relationships between objects and ideas intuitively, but lack the ability to combine, separate, compare, or transform ideas logically. This is due to their egocentric nature. Piaget's experiments show that preoperational children often pick drawings that correspond with their view of the world, indicating their egocentric nature. Preoperational children also struggle to reconstruct the sequence of events when watching objects depart simultaneously. Piaget concluded that time is subjective for preoperational children, and the concept of outside perspectives is as alien as the idea of different objects traveling in different directions or speeds. 8. The third stage of development for children involves learning conservation, reversibility, and classification principles. The third stage of cognitive development, referred to as the concrete operational stage, is a significant milestone in a child's life. Between the ages of 7 and 11, children become capable of operational thought, applying logical rules to objects. This stage is marked by mastering principles of conservation, reversibility, and classification. Conservation refers to the idea that something retains its identity even when its appearance changes. Preoperational children struggle with conservation, such as counting marbles or determining volume. In the concrete operational stage, children understand that a ball of dough retains its identity and can be reversible. They also understand the principle of classification, which is easier to apply in the concrete operational stage. 9. As individuals mature, their thoughts grow more abstract. Piaget's theory of cognitive development suggests that the ability to solve problems like comparing the sizes of hypothetical cats marks the advent of mature intelligence. This stage, defined by formal operations, begins around age 12 and can be applied to abstract problems like the relative sizes of hypothetical cats. Thought becomes increasingly abstract as it reaches maturity. Deductive reasoning, which begins with stating premises and assuming the conclusion to be true, is used in this stage. Although not perfect, this structure of thinking remains logical even if a child reaches an erroneous conclusion. Older children enjoy formal operations that assume false ideas, which Piaget believes is critical to the work of philosophers and scientists, and yes, including those in the social sciences, such as psychology and social work. In summary, intelligence is active. To understand how the world works, we must prod and poke at it, both physically and symbolically. Some things we experience can be comprehended in terms of what we already know, while others cannot. In the first scenario, we assimilate. In the second, we accommodate. These processes are instances of cognitive adaptation to our surroundings. Both broaden our cognitive horizons, guiding us through 4 phases of cognitive development before reaching maturity in early adolescence. Piaget's theories, like those of all pioneering thinkers, continue to influence how psychologists talk and think about intelligence today. However, this does not imply that he has said all on the issue. Over time, fresh experimental research has broadened, qualified, and questioned his theory of cognitive development. Hence, the importance of continuous learning and development. Feel free to drop in your thoughts or feedback on this narrative. If you resonate with this video, please share some love, hit that like button, and share this with others who may find it useful. Join us in this wonderful book journey by subscribing for free, and together, let us make a better world. Thanks for watching, and see you in our next video.